Welcome to It All Starts Here with realestate.co.nz. Since 1996, yes, even before Google, we've been helping New Zealanders find their perfect property. But this podcast isn't about the sale. It's about what happens after the sold sign comes down, the boxes are unpacked, and the house turns into a home. Because so much starts there.
The bank manager of the bank that did the financing in Palmerston North, super helpful. I wasn't earning enough money at the time in order to get the loan. He said, oh, well, if you get flatmates in there and you're getting this much money, we can say that this is extra income you can earn through like DJing in the weekends or whatever. Wow. And I got on the property ladder really young. I was like 22, 23.
Wow.
It was, I always just had this in the back of my mind that home ownership is something I wanted.
You'll know Dom from his 2 decades on the Edge morning show. Today, he's a co-owner of PodLab. He's also one of New Zealand's most successful podcasters, no pressure, having interviewed more than 300 of the country's most interesting people. And it all started at his dining room table. My first question, Dom, was what does it feel like to be in the hot seat?
I hate it.
Oh, do you?
No, I just feel really, I don't know, like vulnerable or exposed. And I always think I'm not interesting enough. So I love being the interviewer and holding the cards and not having the surprises and knowing where the conversation's going.
Right.
So sitting here, it just feels... I don't know. I mean, you're very good. I know I'm with a very safe pair of hands, but I just feel like out of my comfort zone completely.
Well, I feel very privileged to be here with you out of your comfort zone today, so I will take that as a huge compliment, from Mr. Dom Harvey's podcast, The Expert, but also, yeah, I can understand how that must feel. You know, being vulnerable is pretty, it's a challenging place to be.
It's tough, but also I don't know if it's imposter syndrome or what it is, but I just always think I'm not interesting enough. In every exchange I do on my podcast, I'm aware the guest is more interesting than what I am, so I just assume I go into every interaction thinking I'm the least interesting person in that interaction.
Oh, well, I can promise you right now, my friend, you are not the least interesting person.
Okay.
So let's start way back when. Tell me about the home that you grew up in as a child.
Oh my God, there was like two main sort of family homes growing up. I can remember that there's so many things I can't remember these days. Like I can't remember my computer password, but I can remember my phone number 67816.
Wow.
And I honestly, 25 Haas Place, Palmerston North. It's where I spent most of my childhood. I swear I could go in there now in the middle of the night and find my way through the house. Know the 2 steps into the lounge, the sunken lounge, know where all the light switches are. It's crazy, eh?
Wow.
And I do this thing whenever I go back to Palmerston North. I love running when I'm in a city, and I'll run by the 3 houses where I spent most of my childhood, the 2 main ones, and then the third one. And every time I go back, they seem to look smaller and smaller.
Interesting.
But there's something quite there's something really special about it, eh?
Yeah. Do you think that's because you're getting bigger and bigger? And I don't mean that in a physical sense, but I think as you're growing as a human, do you think that's why the houses look smaller?
Maybe. I think part of it is like you do grow bigger as a human. It's like when I go back to Riverdale Primary School and the school field that we have to do laps of, it's like, oh, it's tiny. Maybe. Do you think more spiritually? You grow bigger spiritually as a person?
I do. I think you find more of your place on earth, right? And so if you're kind of becoming more comfortable within your own skin in your own house, and you remember those physical structures as being quite a small person and quite a young person, then perhaps that's what's got bigger. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Yeah, potentially. I don't know, but they're it's amazing the memories that you have attached to these houses, eh? And they're great. Like it was horrible at the time. Like they were always small houses, which I think was fairly sort of, I don't know, standard for New Zealand at the time. So there was mum and dad had 1 bedroom, my 2 sisters had a bedroom, and me and my brother had a bedroom. We always shared bedrooms. So it was 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. And you look back now, you're like, how did we fit so many humans into that little space? Because it's just not most houses now. Most houses have 2 bathrooms, do they? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh no, I think you'd be surprised. But no, most houses at one point, I think it's 1.8 bathrooms.
Right.
So there you go. I don't know how you have 0.8 of a bathroom, but if you average of averages, you know how it goes.
Right.
It's about 1.8. So you're probably good point. Just over 1.
Yeah, but you look back now, and it seems like quite wild. Like, I'd be having a bath as a kid, and Dad would be using the toilet, and there was no privacy. But no, great memories for the most part.
Unfortunately, I have that same memory because very similar. We only had one bathroom.
I think our parents just had that hangover from, I don't know what, like the World War II or whatever. So they were more mindful of, saving things and being cost effective. So like we had a clothes dryer, but we were never allowed to use it.
Yeah.
It was like for very, very, very extreme occasions only. And the shared bathwater thing, that's so bizarre looking back now.
Yeah. Thankfully, we've all moved on from that now. Tell me, what was your fondest memory of that house that you grew up in?
So there were two. There's the first one I was talking about, which is 25 Haas Place. It's crazy how you just remember the addresses, and 115 Long Melford Road as well. The 115 Long Melford Road one, I've got such a clear visual of it, and people can probably look it up on Google Street View as well. Huntley brick, so that orange brick. Yeah. Little garden down the side with that red scoria rockin'. You know, that volcanic rock that was massive in landscaping in the 80s? And Mum and Dad, I think they must have come into some money in the late 80s, and they put a conservatory on the back with slate tiles. And I look back now, you see some photos of it. It looks nothing like the rest of the house. It's the most weird addition ever, but I think they felt quite fancy with it at the time. But that house, it had this smell. It was an elderly couple that were in there before Mum and Dad bought it, and we walked into the open home, and it had the smell of sort of like homemade jam. It's like, It's really hard to smell, but it's a really nice smell. And then when you live there, you don't notice it, but we'd go away for like a holiday, or you'd go away for a sports exchange or whatever, and you'd come back after, say, 5 days or longer, and it would have the smell again. And I'd almost bet it has the same smell now if you haven't been in for a while. And it's just so that's a good memory. So
that's so your house kind of smelled like, did you say raspberry or strawberry jam? You're a raspberry or strawberry jam man?
Yeah, just like homemade jam.
Wow.
Homemade jam, yeah. And there was always a broken window in that house because me and my brother would always play cricket in the driveway. And for some reason, glazing used to be like paper thin back then. It was so easy to break a window. So I look back now and I like, whenever we broke a window, like the first thing would be self-preservation. It's like, oh my God, we're going to be in so much trouble. And I look back now, and my poor parents, like, you imagine that, like you're just like a middle-class family, and you've constantly, calling Smith & Smith around to fix a broken window or whatever. The smell of that house, it's definitely something distinct. And even though I haven't been in that house for, 35 years or whatever, I can still remember the smell. Actually, that's another thing. When I do that run-by thing that I'm talking about, I've never done this, but I've always wanted to like knock on the door and say, hey, I used to live here, can I have a look around? But I just feel it'd be kind of weird. Yeah. Is it weird or?
That's a great question. Is that weird? You're not the first person who's asked me that question, and I think it would depend on who lives there now. Because would you let someone into your house if they knocked on your door today and said, hey, I used to live here, can I have a look around? I would, but I don't know. I don't know. It comes from a good place, and I know I'm not weird, but it just seems weird letting like a stranger into your house. Yeah, because I do think that if someone did come to me and say, "Hey, I used to live here," and not if it was like 15 years old or something, but if it was a good solid brick house, as you say, and perhaps regional New Zealand, you'd be like, "Yeah, come on in, let's sit down, have a cup of tea, let's chat about it." What was your phone number at the time? I bet you can remember it.
And then criticise what they've. Oh, I don't like what you've done here.
Yeah, who put that conservatory in? Oh, my parents. Yeah.
Why, you don't like the slate tiles?
Yeah, that's so good. So you could have started in Palmy and then moved from there to the mighty Waikato, is that right? And then up to Auckland?
Yeah.
Big question for you here. Who do you support? Which rugby team do you support?
Oh, Hurricanes.
Oh,
yeah. When I was living. Who do you support?
I'm a Hurricanes girl.
Oh, really?
I was born in Petone.
Right. Okay. How long have you lived in Auckland?
Probably about 15 years. 20, coming up 20 years.
Yeah, I'm like 20, over 20, but it's weird. There's parts of me that feel like an Aucklander, and there's parts of the regions that just stick with you and will never leave you.
Yeah.
And I think because I was in Palmerston North when Super Rugby started, I'll always have that sort of connection to the Hurricanes, and I'll always feel like there's a little bit of Palmerston North in me.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Never want to move back there. I'm happy not to live there anymore, but there's always a part of it in me.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because that was actually 30 years ago the Super Rugby franchise started. It was 1996, and I was so stoked that the Canes won this year as well. So.
How good. Emphatic.
So good. So good. And so you now have an amazing podcast, like, to get people to tell the stories that they tell, and you can see that real emotion in their eyes. Where did that podcast start for you?
Well, it started like 4.5 years ago on my dining room table at home. And it was initially like a hobby. Like, I hoped I'd make it like a proper podcast and like a career, but there was no sort of real pathway at the time. Actually, I don't know if there even is now, to be honest. But yeah, just started on the dining room table at home. I'd have people around home, and we'd just chat, have a couple of beers or a couple of wines, and it's just sort of evolved. Like, I didn't have a set plan, like I'll end up in my own studio or I'll do this. But even without like a clear plan or a clear goal, if you start something and just keep going, it's amazing where you end up.
Yeah, that's really. And so was it because of the audio side of, coming from radio and then thinking, well, podcast was like a natural step? Is that kind of where the idea came from? Yeah,
I just craved having deeper conversations with people. Like, and the sort of interviews we were doing in commercial radio were very transactional. Like, you'd turn up to a hotel and maybe have like 10 or 12 minutes, like an absolute clearly defined period of time with insert name here, Justin Bieber, Ed Sheeran, Harry Styles, whoever it happens to be. And then people would always say to me, and they still do now when I go on other people's podcasts, like, oh, what's Taylor Swift like? And the truth is, I don't really know. Like, anyone can put their best foot forward for a 10 or 12 minute chat. Like, you're not getting the real person, and it's not really the platform for that either. So, with the podcast and the sort of long form chats we do, like, I say to people, it's hard for someone to hide for 2 hours. Yeah. So if someone's like an asshole or someone's being disingenuous, like, it's gonna come through at some point. Cracks are gonna show. Yeah,
that's a really good point. I mean, I'm personally, as a consumer of podcasts, I'm stoked that we've got here. Like, getting to understand more about who humans are, I just think is so fascinating. You must just love doing that every day.
I do, and I think, Vanessa, one of the big things for me is you realise that everyone is dealing with some of their own adversity or some of their own struggles. No one is exempt, regardless of how someone looks like on the TV or at the Commonwealth Games or at the Olympics or in an All Black jersey or whatever. Everyone's dealing with some sort of struggle, and when you realise that, it actually makes I don't know. I find there's something quite comforting in that.
Yeah, I think inherently we are a herd animal, and we've evolved to kind of be a little bit more individualistic as we've kind of, life's become easier. Technology's allowed us to become more less reliant on people. Like, I was thinking about this, we were going to the airport the other week, and I was thinking, we used to have to find someone to take us to the airport, unless you wanted to pay an exorbitant amount for a taxi, right? But technology solved that problem for us. And so it's kind of, I find it interesting that now, where that kind of ability to get to know people has come from is like this whole new media channel being podcasts.
It's funny you should say that. Just yesterday morning at 6:30, I did an airport pickup.
Wow.
It was my niece and her father, and they were flying in from Perth. They're like, look, I know it's an early flight, so we can just get an Uber. And I was like, no, I'll come and pick you up, because I thought it's like an act of love in a way.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah, actually, just the fact that you just mentioned that now, because I don't normally do that. Like, I normally say to people, look, if it's outside of like peak times, like morning and afternoon, I'll come and pick you up. But otherwise, get in an Uber.
Yeah.
I'm not confronting the Auckland traffic at peak time.
Especially out of that blooming airport, my goodness. It doesn't matter how many lanes they've put, it doesn't get any better, does it? Yeah, but I think that's, I think it's a really interesting concept. Interesting that you did it yesterday, because I thought to myself, gosh, I haven't done an airport run for a while, but technology is solving these connection points for us.
Yeah, 100%.
Uber Eats, if you're too hungover to go down to McDonald's, it's, we've got a technology.
Oh yeah, there's Uber Eats, DoorDash, everything, Like, things have never been more convenient than what they are now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that all evolves. So Dom, your podcast, your award-winning podcast, I might add, started at home. Talk to me about that. What was that like?
It's crazy. Well, the podcast has been going for like 4.5 years now. So I just bought some equipment from like a tech shop called Rubber Monkey, like a Rodecaster Pro and a couple of microphones. And I just had them set up on the coffee table at home. I had a coffee mug, just like this one, with my like iPhone leaning against it because I thought I should have some video content for social media. So I look back now and it's like, oh my God, the podcast has come a long way. But it just seemed like the sensible place to start. Like I didn't really know where the podcast landscape was going to go. So I didn't want to get a studio straight away and pump all this money and resources into buying cameras and getting a team around me if it wasn't going to be financially viable. So I just wanted to start small. So it was like $1,500 worth of kit on the dining room table at home.
Wow, nice one. And what did that feel like having, because I assume, guests coming into kind of what is your private space, like and you're kind of, having a good chat about them, but it's in your home. What did that sort of feel like?
It felt really good. Yeah, it's really weird. Like, because it's my own house, I think for most of them, I probably had no shoes on. Because you're just in your own home. There was one early on when I had Mitch James, who's quite a well-known New Zealand singer, and I missed the WhatsApp group from the Body Corp about the water blaster coming that day. So there was someone on my deck like, oh. So Mitch was getting into some really deep, like personal stuff about some mental health struggles I'd been through, and there was a water blaster outside. I listen back to that now, and there's something quite cute about it.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know. Like the podcast, I'm trying to compare where the podcast is now to back then. I think there was definitely something like disarming about having these high-profile New Zealanders come into your house, and you walk past the kitchen and past the lounge, and then into the dining room area. There was probably something quite disarming about that because you're in someone's house. It feels less formal than going into a studio, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, like any media, it's kind of gone from what you were saying there. 4.5 years ago, podcasts actually weren't that sort of popular, or we all try to work it out. And then you fast forward to now, and now it's more of it feels a little bit more commercial. So I can understand that there's something quite humbling about being in somebody else's house telling your story.
Yeah, it was something. So the studio space I'm in now, it was, I suppose, like a concern in the back of my mind that people will be less likely to open up and become really unguarded because it does feel like you're in a studio with a table and microphones. Thankfully, that hasn't been the case, but yeah, it was definitely like a concern. It did feel like the next step, the next step of progression, but it was something that played in the back of my mind about whether you'd lose some of the essence of the podcast.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear that it hasn't lost that. That's great.
Yeah, thankfully, touch wood. Actually, I don't know if that's real wood. I think that's like laminate or something.
Good for spray and wipe, anyway. So, a couple of decades on the edge.
Yeah, 20, yeah.
Yeah. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I used to listen to you and JJ. Jace, JJ and Dom.
Oh, that's way back, yeah.
When I started, and you used to do the nude bike ride around Taupo, was it?
We were naked a lot.
Yes, I do agree.
Yeah, I look back now. There was an alarming amount of nudity. So much nudity.
Yeah, and it's just a product of the time, though, right?
Yeah, well, it was just trying to get a reaction and sort of, I suppose, shock people or make people sit up and pay attention. Whereas now the way the radio landscape sort of is, it's like, oh, don't do anything that's going to piss people off. Don't get any attention. But back then it was like the attention economy. So, you wanted to create noise and you wanted to get people talking about what you were doing. And nudity seemed to be the fast track of doing that.
Yeah, it's like it's a surefire way, rubber stamp that. And so on air, you kind of played that sort of shock jock kind of persona. Yeah. And then that's kind of, I think I was listening to the podcast with you and JJ around JJ saying you've really softened over those years. And how's that sort of evolved for you?
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons really. First of all, the on-air stuff. So there was three people on the shows. So the one you were talking about, Jace, JJ and Dom, with Jason Reeves, who's now on Coast. Then it was an incredibly popular and stable lineup for a number of years with JJ, Mike and Dom. Mm-hmm. So JJ Feeney, Mike Padu and myself. And when there's three people, you kind of need to have separate roles in radio. You can't all just have the same opinions on anything because otherwise it's like, well, we don't need three voices here. We can just have one. So I was always encouraged to be like a bit provocative or a little bit edgy or like a shock jock sort of thing. So some of the things I said, people would come up to me and say, "Oh, Dom, we like you. You say what everyone's thinking, but no one actually says." And I always felt like a bit of a fraud because a lot of the time it's like, well, I don't actually think that myself.
Interesting.
But I think, you just get too old to do that, to do dumb stuff. But I also, I think I went through some like mental health stuff myself. And if you look for like the positive in any situation, I think the best thing that suffering poor mental health gave me was probably like a bit of empathy that was missing.
Yeah, right.
Or a bit more compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it probably softened me a bit as a person.
And I suppose which really flows well into what you do today, because you're going to have empathy to, hear what people have to say and tell their story, right? To, play part in that.
Yeah, also, one big difference between like what I do now and the short radio interviews that we're talking about. So the short radio interviews, it was like I'd try and get in a zinger of a question that's going to, get a good answer or whatever. But now it's just about, it's not about me at all. Like it's about me facilitating the conversations and getting people to open up. And I find the sort of best way you can get people to open up is just to to let them know early on that you're on their side. You're not out to get them with a zinger of a question or something shocking or provocative. Like, I just go into these podcast conversations with like no agenda.
Nice.
Yeah, just want the other person to have a great time and a great experience.
You don't need a, what do you call it, a short clip or a...
Oh, yeah, clickbait or a gotcha moment or anything like that.
Yeah.
I say to all the guests, it's like you get full edit control before anything comes out, because I just want people to come in, be completely disarmed and completely comfortable, knowing that they can say anything they want. And if they have like a vulnerability hangover afterwards, they can just have it removed.
Yeah, nice. That's lovely. You're very well known as a runner. What started running for you? When did you first go for a run?
I was in Woolworths yesterday, and there were these little kids running. It looked like they were a brother and sister, and they were just running around the checkout. It got me thinking about running. Like, running's the most natural thing to do. Like, kids run when they're excited, right?
Yeah.
Like, when you had little kids, if they were in the lounge and there was a bit of Lego in their room that they wanted, they'd run and get it. Then something happens along the line, whereas adults, we just stop.
Yeah.
It becomes like an unnatural thing. If you see an adult running in the supermarket, you're like, they must be shoplifting.
They're right.
Yeah. But so for me, like, it was just like running as a kid. You run everywhere. And then I think the jogging boom sort of arrived in New Zealand in the 1980s, and my mum, she started running. And when your mum starts running and she runs long distances like marathons, you start to think as a kid, well, it can't be that hard. Like, if mum can do it, it must be easy. So I sort of fell into running that way. And then when I became an adult, I stopped running through my 20s. I actually got quite overweight, and then I just sort of rediscovered it again in my 30s, and it's been like a cornerstone of my life ever since.
Is it an everyday thing for you?
Most days, yeah. Most days. I try and have a couple of recovery days a week, but like at the moment, I'm not training for anything in particular, so I'll just go out early in the morning for like say 10 kilometres or something, like an hour.
Nice.
But if I go for like say 2 or 3 days without doing something, like I definitely feel off. I feel antsy. And it's a really good space to be playing in. Like I really like it. As in, if I go away out to say Rarotonga or Fiji or somewhere, I'm not like, I can have a week without running. Like, I still want to run. Like, it's a part of my sort of identity and who I am, and it's part of what makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Get the blood moving, get things going.
Yeah, the endorphins flowing.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's all good stuff. Yeah.
Do you run?
I do, actually, yeah. And I only started that as a matter of efficiency when I was studying.
What does that mean?
So I went, great question. I used to walk. So I've always been a walker, and then I went back to study and worked out I need to find another half an hour that I can do some extra study. So I know I'll run my walk, and of course it cut me down by half an hour, and I was able to do that. And then to your point, I've really enjoyed it ever since.
Yeah, the best thing about running, I tell people, it's like first of all, the barrier to entry is really low. Like, if you can afford shoes, get some shoes, but you can literally do it in bare feet. Another thing, there's no membership. Like, if you're traveling, you can do it straight out of your hotel, from home. Like, there's no sort of prep required. You go from your front door, go for as long as what you can. Like, it's easy and simple and the most purest thing. And people that say to me, I'm not a runner, it's like, if you can walk, you can run. It's like extreme walking.
Yeah. And you actually have run in your life, as you said, kids do it. Between that and skipping, I'm like, why don't we skip more as adults?
Yeah.
I love skipping.
It doesn't happen all that often, but how sometimes you're walking along a footpath and you'll see like a hopscotch thing out?
Yes.
Whenever I see an adult that just walks over a hopscotch thing, I'm like, oh, come on. Do better next time.
I agree.
Like, it's just a thing. I don't know. Maybe this is the childish side of me, but if I see a hopscotch thing, it's in the back of my brain. It's like, I've got to do it. I'm not dropping a stone down or anything, but I'm just bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, nice. Tell me about your first home that you ever bought.
Kingston Street in Palmerston North. It was a stucco place, and the real estate agent told me it was Riverdale, but it was Awapuni, which is the suburb next to Riverdale, which is not as desirable as the leafy Riverdale. But it was $96,000. It was a stucco place with 3 bedrooms and a garage with a sleep out on the back of the garage. And I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but the bank manager of the bank that did the financing in Palmerston North, super, super helpful. It'd be frowned upon now, but I wasn't earning enough money at the time in order to get the loan through the perimeters that they required. So he said, oh, well, if you get flatmates in there and you're getting this much money, we can say that this is extra income you can earn through like DJing in the weekends or whatever. So he really did me a solid. Wow. And I got on the property ladder really, really young. I was like 22, 23.
Wow.
It was, I always just had this in the back of my mind that home ownership is something I wanted. And people listening to this or watching this will go, well, your home was only $96,000. But trust me, it was a lot of money back then. A lot of money, yeah. It was still a lot of money. But I love that house so much. It was a do-up. And I learned some very valuable lessons there. Like I started like trying to do things myself, like painting and stripping the wallpapering. I had a situation where the hallway was like half stripped for maybe like 2 years. Yep. And then I got some painters and decorators in to do it, and it wasn't as expensive as what I imagined, and they got it done in like a week. And I was like, why? Yeah, it just taught me a valuable lessons that there's some things that you should outsource.
Yeah, especially wallpaper stripping and painting.
Yeah, and the painting I did like some people are really good at painting, and I wish I was one of those people, but no, it was the paint job was terrible that I did.
Yeah,
I don't think I had the attention span to do the prep required.
Really, that doesn't surprise me, Dom.
But no, I love that house, and it gave me the stepping stone and the platform I needed to get my next home, and then you get that ball rolling. But I have some friends that are like, yeah, that was really weird that you got your house at 22, but it was like, it's just something I always really wanted to do.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I do think in New Zealand we have this real love affair with property. We love to talk about it at barbecues. We love to, any media headline that has something about property in it, most people will click on it, So I do think it's kind of a bit of in our DNA, even though we're kind of subconsciously swimming in the soup of property. It just sort of seems the way that it is. Yeah.
What do you think? Is it still a thing now, like with younger New Zealanders, or do they think that sort of dream or has passed or that ship has sailed?
No, I do think that there's still a real, that sort of love for property. I talk to a lot of young people who want advice on, property. And, it's like just like a tree, The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The next best time is today. So, make good, smart financial decisions for yourself. But I always encourage young people to just look at it as an option. I'm not saying do it, but certainly look at it. And there is so much ability, experts out there today who can help our young people, which I just think is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it is feasible. Like if you really want it bad enough, you'll figure out a way.
Yeah.
And even if you don't end up with with a home, just the process of like saving and working towards that deposit, you'll learn a lot out of that anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. You're dead right. If you were able to go back to that moment that you were inhaling the jam smell
at 115 Long Melford.
And you were able to give your smaller self an awesome piece of advice, what would you say to young Dom?
Oh my God. First of all, I want to preempt this by saying he wouldn't have listened, probably.
Of course not.
But I would say, like, just don't worry about what other people think.
Okay.
Like that would be the key thing. Like I look back now, and there were things, I always thought I was pretty dumb at school. I don't know, I was never very good at exams, and I probably never tried that hard because there was just something that wasn't really cool about trying your best or being seen to trying. And I look back now and I think other people were trying, other people were doing the work, but it was just like you just wanted to fit in. I think I just wanted to fit in so badly. So that would be my key advice to young Dom. Just do whatever you want and don't worry about anyone else.
Yeah.
Because other people aren't worrying about you as much as what you think. Everyone's worried about themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, what other people think of me is none of my business.
100%. I love that line.
Yeah.
That's
it's
so
a great
good.
one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful piece of advice. And for all of our young listeners out there, yeah, take on board that it's a beautiful piece of advice. All right, let's fast forward a bit to winning Lotto this Saturday. The jackpot has just struck. You have that mighty yellow ticket in hand. What does that dream home look like for you? Where would you buy? What would it have?
How many options am I allowed for this one?
This is you're the guest, Dom. You can have as many as you like.
Because there's the dream and there's the fantasy, and then there's the reality of like what you'd like at your core. So like the dream thing, like what I could say to you now, like off the top of my head is like God, like an apartment in New York or something like that, like a loft apartment in New York, or like a villa in Bordeaux or somewhere like that. Nice. But the reality is, like I'm actually quite a homebody and I'm quite home-centric. So the reality is probably somewhere in Auckland that's almost like a compound where I can have my family and I can have some of my good friends living there. You know, my parents aren't getting any younger, so it'd be good to have them around and my siblings. But in saying that, I also have these extrovert qualities. So I'd need to have my own wing and my own space. But there's a communal area in this big sort of family, friends compound that I can go to if I want to be social. Oh. But I can retreat when I need to.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So you have everyone almost like university dorms, but like for your family and friends.
Yeah, but also with a bougie space that I can retreat to. So I'm never having to wait for a bathroom or, you know, I've got my own space.
Did I understand correctly that you bought your mum a house?
Yeah. I bought my mum an apartment. She's in her 70s now. She wouldn't be able to live in Auckland otherwise.
Okay.
I think she would have probably moved back to live in, which is where we came from originally in the Horowhenua. So I had the opportunity a few years ago to buy mum a house, and she's in her mid-70s now. But by the way, a financial advisor said to me a few years ago, I was like, oh, I'm sweet for retirement. Like I bought my mum an apartment, so when she dies, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, look, your mum's in her 70s. She's still running marathons. She's only 20 years older than you. She's probably going to outlive you. Or when she dies, you'll be in your 70s anyway. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. So mum says to me often, she goes, oh, it's a good investment. It's a good investment you got me. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like every week you're living in there rent-free. It's costing me $500. But you do these things if you can, eh?
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, 'cause mum and dad, they broke up, and so, you know, she didn't end up with a lot in terms of like savings or assets behind her. So, I mean, you help if you can, eh? It's family.
Absolutely. Did she move up from Palmies?
No, she was living up here. She lived in the Gold Coast for a while, and then she moved back here when my sister in Point Chevalier started having babies. Oh, cool. But there was no way mum would have been able to afford staying here now that she's retired and on the pension. She still does some nanny work, but yeah, on the pension she couldn't afford. So it was a cool thing to do.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And still running marathons. How phenomenal.
Yeah, she's funny. Like she's mid-70s and she still runs, and she's like, oh, I'm getting slower and slower. Like, you know. And then she'll look at the results and she'll be like, oh my God, I bet Mike McRoberts in this run. And she doesn't even know who he is, apart from the guy on the news. It's so embarrassing, eh? It's like, Mum, stop comparing yourself to other people. Like that, they don't know who you are. You don't know who they are. Just run your own race.
Yeah, please.
But it's just that competitive gene.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Well, Dom, that has been an absolute pleasure to sit down. Thank you for being vulnerable and, your generosity with what you shared today. I really appreciate it. Vanessa, thank you so much. I love what you're doing, and I love talking about real estate as well. Like it's been, like a passion of mine since my late teens, I think. I was always, sorry, I know you're wrapping up, but I was always a really weird kid like that. Like from the age of 14, I'd grab the property press and I'd like read through it. I look back now, that's quite odd. No, I don't know. That is not odd at all.
Oh, come on. How many 14-year-olds are reading the property press?
I had an 8-year-old who used to do the same thing. She would get there. She's 16 now, so it wasn't actually that long ago before that stopped. But she would get there, she'd circle, this is what I'm going to buy for you, this is what I'm going to buy for Dad, this is what I'm going to buy for Luke. So, no, it still happens even with young ones today.
Also, another guilty pleasure, I'll just finish with a confession here. When friends of mine buy a house, I'll definitely go online and look how much they paid for it.
Nice.
Especially if they're secretive about how much they paid for it.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to It All Starts Here. Join us next time for another guest and another story that started at home.